Some people walk through life unaware of their own depth. They don't realize that the heaviness they feel, the intensity they carry, and the emotions they can't switch off are signs of a mind that sees beyond the surface, a mind that notices things others overlook, a mind that feels what others avoid. Most people live on reaction mode, responding only to what's in front of them. But deep thinkers do more than respond. They reflect, they question, they examine the subtle shifts in someone's voice, the changes in their eyes, the silence between their words. And because they see more, they feel more. And because they feel more, they hurt more. The world often misunderstands them. People mistake sensitivity for weakness, when in truth it's heightened awareness. People see the quietness but miss the storm inside. People see the calm face but miss the thousands of thoughts behind it. A deep thinker isn't lonely because they lack people. They're lonely because few people can meet them at the level where they truly exist. Stoics understood this. They believed that greater awareness brings greater emotional weight. The more you see, the more responsibility you carry. The deeper you think, the more often you'll stand alone. Not because you want to, but because superficial conversations feel suffocating, and the shallow world rarely fits the depth of your mind. Deep thinkers often feel like they're out of place. They analyze every conversation, not because they're insecure, but because they search for meaning. They want clarity, not confusion. They want truth, not noise. They want purpose, not distraction. And this search makes them replay moments in their mind, trying to understand what others overlook. Some call this overthinking. Stoics call it awareness without direction. A powerful mind can become chaotic when left unmanaged. The same intelligence that causes anxiety can also produce wisdom. The same sensitivity that brings pain can also create profound clarity. The same depth that isolates you can also build unmatched inner strength. But the world rarely sees this strength. They see you quiet. They see you withdrawn. They see you reserved. They assume you're distant, when in reality you're observing everything. They assume you don't care, when in reality you care too much. They assume you're cold, when in truth you're protecting your heart from being misunderstood again. A deep thinker carries emotions differently. A kind word can feel like sunlight warming the soul. A careless comment can feel like a shadow lasting for days. Their emotional world is vibrant, intense, overwhelming at times. But Stoicism teaches that emotion itself is not the enemy. The attachment to the emotion is. You can feel deeply without letting the feeling control you. As you grow, you begin to realize that not every silence needs interpretation. Not every shift in energy is your responsibility. Not every expression needs decoding. Not every thought deserves a full analysis. You begin to realize that you don't have to carry the world's emotional weight on your back. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes life-changing. The Stoics never asked anyone to feel less. They asked them to understand their feelings more clearly. They believed that when you interpret things correctly, suffering becomes optional. A deep thinker who learns this begins to rise above what once overwhelmed them. You stop drowning in your thoughts and start navigating them. You stop absorbing everything people say and start filtering it. You stop expecting others to think like you, and suddenly life feels lighter. Your depth becomes something different, something useful, something powerful. You become more patient, not because you're numb, but because you understand more. You become more calm, not because you don't care, but because you finally know what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You become more selective, not out of arrogance, but because you've learned the cost of giving your mind to the wrong people. A deep thinker with emotional discipline becomes one of the strongest people alive. Their awareness becomes intuition. Their pain becomes wisdom. Their solitude becomes clarity. Their thoughts become a compass instead of a cage. There comes a moment when you finally realize that your depth is not a curse. It's a calling. You're not too much. You're simply more aware than those who fear their own emotions. You're not overthinking. You're simply trying to understand a world that rarely makes sense. You're not too sensitive. You're simply capable of noticing what others numb themselves to avoid. And when that realization settles in, everything changes. You stop apologizing for who you are. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop pretending you don't feel things deeply just because the world prefers simplicity over substance. Your depth becomes your power. Your silence becomes your strength. Your solitude becomes your training ground. And one day, people will admire the calmness you built, the strength you carry, the steadiness you've developed. But they'll never know the battles you fought alone. They'll never know the nights you spent thinking instead of sleeping. They'll never know how many storms you walked through without asking for help. They'll never know how much wisdom was carved out of your suffering. And that's okay. Your journey is your own. Your mind is your compass. Your depth is your advantage. Because the heart that feels deeply also loves deeply. The mind that analyzes endlessly also understands endlessly. And the soul that suffers quietly also grows into something extraordinary. You are a deep thinker, and that is your quiet, unshakable strength.